Thorn snatched a file from the captain's hands and slapped it down on the central map table. The plastic cover cracked slightly under the force. "Let us see what makes you so special," he growled. "Because right now, all I see is a clerical error." The file lay open, its pages filled not with the usual service record clutter, fitness scores, commendations, disciplinary notes, but with dense blocks of technical data, schematics, and redacted sections. Thorn's eyes flicked across the pages, and for a fraction of a second, something changed. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but the men closest to him saw it. The anger didn't fade. It focused. He looked up slowly. "This can't be right," Thorn said. "Weapons evaluation group, that's a lab outfit. Test ranges. Controlled conditions." "Yes, sir," Anya replied. It was. The general's thick fingers tapped the file. "And now I'm being told that you," he gestured vaguely at her, "are my solution to an insurgent stronghold dug into a valley that's eaten 2 companies and a reconnaissance drone in the last month." "Yes, sir." Thorn let out a humorless laugh. "Do you have any idea what's out there, Sergeant? We're not fighting idiots with rusted rifles. They've got layered defenses, hardened firing positions, and enough stolen anti-armor to make a parade." "Yes, sir." The general leaned forward, planting his palms on the map table. His face was inches from hers now, his shadow swallowing her smaller frame. "Then explain to me," he said quietly, dangerously, "why High Command thought sending you was worth diverting a classified airlift." Anya finally shifted her gaze. She didn't look at him. She looked at the map. "At grid Echo 7, she said, her finger rising to point at a narrow defile on the western edge of the valley. "There is a limestone shelf, approximately 12 meters below the ridgeline. It's masked from overhead ISR by thermal clutter from the rock face." The tent went quiet. "That shelf," she continued, "houses a reinforced firing nest. Composite armor scavenged from a downed striker. They've mounted a modified recoilless rifle there. It's what killed your convoy escort 3 days ago." One of the staff officers sucked in a breath. Thorn's eyes narrowed. "How do you know that?" he asked. Anya's finger moved again, tracing a faint line across the map. "Because they fire in a predictable pattern. 3 rounds. Pause. Thermal venting through a natural fissure. Your drones didn't see it because they were looking for movement, not absence." Thorn straightened slowly. "Keep talking." Anya reached down and unlatched the rectangular rifle case at her feet. The sound was soft, precise. The lid opened, revealing not binders or survey tools but a weapon. It didn't look like any rifle in the tent. Longer than a standard marksman rifle. Angular. Matte black, with subtle ceramic panels that caught the dim light without reflecting it. The barrel was thick, wrapped in a composite shroud threaded with faint heat dissipation channels. There was no visible magazine. Several officers leaned closer despite themselves. "This," Anya said, "is the VX-9 Black Talon." Jax Rotova's laughter from outside the tent died instantly as word spread. Soldiers drifted closer to the canvas walls, curiosity overpowering boredom. "It's a hybrid electromagnetic and chemically assisted precision system," Anya continued. "Designed to defeat hardened positions at extended range without triggering counter-battery detection." Thorn stared at the weapon. "Railgun," he said flatly. "Not exactly," Anya replied. "Rails are inefficient in field conditions. This uses guided mass acceleration. No muzzle flash. Minimal acoustic signature. The projectile arrives before the sound does. She lifted the rifle with practiced ease, locking its stock against her shoulder. The movement was smooth, not strong, but certain. Like someone who knew exactly how much force was required and no more. "I don't need airstrikes," she said. "I don't need artillery. I need one clear line of sight and 12 seconds. The general looked at her, really looked this time. Not at her size. Not at her rank. But at the calm behind her eyes. "And the rest of the valley?" he asked. Anya closed the rifle case. "When the Black Talon fires," she said, "everything built on the assumption that it couldn't be touched, falls apart." Silence hung in the tent. Outside, the wind howled across Fab Nightingale, carrying dust, grit, and something new. Expectation. "Petrova, Anna," he read, his tone openly mocking. "Specialty listed as range assessment and ballistics calibration. What in the hell is that you here to make sure our rifles are pointing forward?" A few of the junior officers shifted. One or two failed to hide their smiles. The general's scorn was permission, an unspoken order for everyone else to follow his lead. Anya felt the weight of their judgment wash over her. It was familiar. And, as always, irrelevant. She didn't answer. Her silence sat between them, heavy and deliberate, a vacuum in the loud, aggressive space Thorne created around himself. He hated it. He flipped another page in her file, his thick fingers creasing the paper. His eyes scanned the unclassified summary, the sanitized version meant for commanders who lacked either the clearance or the patience for the truth. "Well then," he said, snapping the folder shut. "Sergeant, ballistics calibration. Tomorrow, we're running a supply convoy through the Zarin Valley." He jabbed a finger at a red-lined route carved through the map like a wound. "The locals call it the Grinder. Apt name. We'll have 2 fire teams providing overwatch East Ridge and West Ridge. East Ridge is the primary engagement sector." He paused, then added pointedly, "That's where the real soldiers will be." He waved a dismissive hand in her direction. "You can take your survey equipment up to the West Ridge, find a nice, safe spot. Keep your head down. Observe and report. Don't touch your radio unless you see a bird you can't identify." He leaned back, decision made, already moving on. "Am I clear?" "Crystal, sir," Anya replied. "One word. Clean. Precise. Good." Thorne turned his back on her. "Now let's talk air support. I want a flight of warthogs on standby, 5 minutes out." The dismissal was complete. Anya executed a crisp about-face and stepped back into the blistering sun. She wasn't a weapon to be used. She was a box to be checked. An inconvenience sent from a higher authority, tolerated, not trusted. As she crossed the compound toward the transient barracks, she passed Jax and Chen again. They'd heard it, if not the words, then the general's booming voice. "Told you," Jax said loudly. "West Ridge. Safest seat in the house. She's just there to watch the fireworks." Anya didn't slow. She didn't need their respect. She didn't need the general's approval. She needed a clear line of sight, an accurate wind reading, and a stable firing position. The rest was noise. The valley would provide the silence. The pre-dawn chill bit sharply, a welcome reprieve from the brutal heat that would soon bake the mountainside. Anya moved through the darkness with practiced, silent grace. The weight of her pack and rifle case rested comfortably against her spine, a known constant in a world of variables. She had declined the offer of a ride to the base of the ridge. She preferred to walk. The long ascent gave her time to acclimate. To feel the terrain beneath her boots. To listen to the land before it was violated by engines and gunfire. She reached her assigned position on the west ridge an hour before sunrise. It was, as Thorne had implied, tactically unimpressive. The valley floor lay open beneath her, but the position was exposed, with little cover. The east ridge where Jax, Chen, and their fire team were emplacing was higher, broken by jagged rock formations ideal for concealment and defense. Thorne had given her the cheap seats. He didn't know she preferred an unobstructed view. She didn't unpack right away. Instead, she lay prone on a flat patch of grit and stone, her body still, her senses extended outward. She wasn't just looking. She was absorbing. The way shadows stretched and shifted as the sun hinted at its arrival. The angle of sparse grasses bending in the intermittent wind. The skitter of a lizard across nearby rock. The temperature of the air against her cheek. For 30 minutes, she did nothing but breathe. No calculations. No adjustments. Just observation. This was the real preparation, the part no training manual could teach. Finally, she opened the case. Inside, nestled in custom-cut foam, was no survey equipment. It was a weapon. An Accuracy International AXMC, chambered in .338 Lapua Magnum. The stock was faded Desert 10. The barrel and action a matte black that seemed to drink in the light rather than reflect it. It was an older rifle, one she had shaped over years of service. Every scratch told a story. Every modification carried a lesson paid for in sweat or blood. She assembled it with the careful, reverent motions of a surgeon preparing instruments. The bolt slid into the receiver with a soft metallic click. Final. She mounted the Schmidt and Bender scope, its lens a dark, unblinking eye. Then the suppressor, a thick cylinder that extended the rifle's already considerable length. Her spotter scope followed, mounted on a compact tripod. Then the Kestrel weather meter, placed on a flat rock to feed her continuous data, wind speed, direction, temperature, barometric pressure. Her data book came next, a worn, leather-bound journal packed with handwritten notes and dense ballistic tables. 3 5-round magazines were laid out in a perfect row. Everything had its place. Everything was deliberate. As the sun crested the eastern peaks, spilling gold into the valley, Anya settled behind the rifle. Her cheek